Drone-like object hits apartment building in Moldova capital. Trump King Charles talks to skip cameras amid fears of Zelenskyy-style repeat. And Ukraine summons Israeli ambassador over vessel carrying stolen grain. The latest news next. King Charles III will meet with the US President Donald Trump in Washington behind closed doors. The reason is concerns about a repeat of the scandal involving Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in February 2025 at the White House, reports The Guardian. British officials insisted on a closed format for the meeting in the Oval Office. Why is the meeting without the press? In February, Trump criticized Zelenskyy live on air during a meeting at the White House. To prevent something similar from happening with the British monarch, officials agreed that King Charles III would appear before the press only at the beginning of the meeting for photos. After that, all journalists will leave the room. What is planned during the visit? The king arrived in Washington on Monday evening. On Tuesday are key events: a bilateral meeting with Trump in the Oval Office, an address to the US Congress. At all events, the monarch will be accompanied by palace staff and UK Foreign Secretary David Cooper, a human shield for the king. Diplomatic sources said Cooper is ready to intervene if the talks go off script. She's ready to leap into action as a human shield for the king should Trump start criticizing Starmer or the UK more generally, as he is prone to do, one source said. However, government insiders say Charles will most likely handle it himself.
He's had decades of experience of this sort of stuff, including meeting some quite difficult characters. He reads all his papers and knows exactly what is going on. We think he'll be just fine.
Some officials believe that in his speech, Charles will touch on environmental issues and support for Ukraine. These topics could be seen as indirect criticism of the Trump administration, but the king is likely to frame them in general terms without specific attacks. What Trump said about the king. Trump on Sunday, speaking on CBS News, praised Charles for not canceling the trip after the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington.
He's a fantastic man. I know him well. I've known him for years. He's a brave man, and he's a great man.
The British side has high hopes for the trip, as relations between the two countries are now going through one of the most difficult periods in decades. Recently, Trump threatened retaliation after UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Chancellor Rachel Reeves publicly criticized his stance on the war in Iran. The government hopes that a personal meeting with the monarch will soften the American president's rhetoric. Ukraine's foreign ministry has summoned Israel's ambassador to deliver a note of protest over a vessel loaded with Ukrainian grain that was stolen by Russia from occupied territories, reported by Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha on X.
Friendly Ukrainian-Israeli relations have the potential to benefit both countries, and Russia's illegal trade with stolen Ukrainian grain should not undermine them. It is difficult to understand Israel's lack of appropriate response to Ukraine's legitimate request regarding the previous vessel that delivered stolen goods to Haifa. Now that another such vessel has arrived in Haifa, we once again warn Israel against accepting the stolen grain and harming our relations.
Sybiha added that in this context, we have already officially summoned the Israeli ambassador to the Foreign Ministry tomorrow morning to present our protest note and request appropriate action. Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar has responded to Ukraine's concerns over a vessel carrying stolen Ukrainian grain, stating that Israeli authorities will act in accordance with the law, reported by Saar on X. Saar said that no evidence supporting the allegations has been provided so far.
Diplomatic relations, especially between friendly nations, are not conducted on Twitter or in the media. Allegations are not evidence. Evidence substantiating the allegations have yet to be provided. You did not even submit a request for legal assistance before turning to the media and social networks.
Saar added that Israel adheres to the rule of law with independent law enforcement bodies and that all Israeli authorities will act in accordance with the law. Russia's Krasnodar region was again targeted by unknown drones on the night of April 28th. The Tuapse oil refinery and sea terminal were targeted, Russian media and OSINT channels report. Residents reported more than a dozen explosions after 2 a.m. Gunfire can be heard periodically and bright flashes are visible in the sky. In one of the areas, a fire broke out at the site where drone debris fell. Flames and smoke are visible, one channel wrote. Against the backdrop of the drone threat, restrictions were also introduced on the arrival and departure of flights at the airports of Krasnodar, Gelendzhik and Sochi. Tuapse, the sea terminal and the refinery are again under drone attack. There are several hits, but without ignition. Air defense is actively operating over the sea, another social media post said. Specifically, the tank farm located near the Ilo AVT 12 unit was attacked, after which social media reported fires in 2 tanks. It later became known about a repeated attack on Tuapse and that the fires had not yet been extinguished on the territory of the port and the refinery. Online users also recalled previous repeated attacks on Tuapse. After those strikes, as it turned out, an oil spill occurred. Petroleum products are being transported by trucks, and residents complain about oil rains, with local animals getting covered in fuel oil. In the morning, the operational headquarters of the Krasnodar region confirmed the information about drone attacks on Tuapse, the refinery and the seaport. Preliminary reports indicate no casualties. Ukrainian intelligence is recording a worsening economic situation in Russia. Despite the Kremlin's attempts to use the war in Iran, the results remain negative, stated Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. According to the head of state, Ukraine's Defense Intelligence and Foreign Intelligence Service presented an assessment of Russia's economy and social trends after the first quarter of this year. In particular, a significant deterioration in key economic indicators has been observed, along with notable losses in Russian exports.
Despite attempts by the Russian leadership to use the war in Iran to improve its financial situation, the real outcomes for Russia are negative.
He added that Ukraine's long-range strikes are also influencing the situation. Our long-range sanctions are contributing to this. We will continue our pressure on the aggressor, the president concluded. A drone-like object was found on the roof of a high-rise building in the central district of Chisinau, the capital of Moldova, the police of Moldova reports.
Tonight, a citizen called the police and reported the discovery of an object resembling a drone in the central district of the capital. Specialists from the explosives unit arrived at the scene and secured the area.
It is noted that for safety reasons, residents of the upper floors of the apartment building were temporarily evacuated while the object was inspected and removed. According to preliminary information, the object was damaged after hitting the roof of the building. It will be thoroughly examined by experts. The police continue to take measures to establish all the circumstances of the case, the police of Moldova added. Since the beginning of 2026, several unidentified drones have already been found in Moldova. In particular, on January 17th, a Russian drone was found near the village of Nukirani in the Telenesti district. It turned out to be a Gerbera, a decoy drone not equipped with a warhead. Another drone was discovered in the border areas of Moldova in January 22nd. However, this drone, which fell into the yard of an abandoned house, was equipped with a warhead, which is why the dangerous find was detonated on site. In addition, at the beginning of February, an unidentified drone was found in one of the border regions of Moldova. This is already the third drone since the beginning of the year to be discovered on the country's territory. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.